A lot of people think that building a 40,000 AI business started with some genius idea, a massive investment, or a team of developers working round the clock. But the truth is that it started with me sitting alone at my computer, realizing that almost every small business owner I talked to had the same problem. They were overwhelmed, understaffed, and spending hours every week doing tasks that could be automated. At the time, I had no clients, no audience, and no reputation. What I did have was curiosity. I spent weeks studying AI tools, testing them, breaking them, rebuilding workflows, and asking myself one simple question. If I owned a local business, what would I happily pay for? That question changed everything, because instead of chasing flashy technology, I started focusing on real problems. I noticed that businesses were missing leads because they couldn't answer inquiries quickly enough. They were manually sending follow-up emails, organising appointments by hand, and wasting time on repetitive administrative work. I built a simple automation that could capture leads, respond instantly, qualify prospects, and schedule appointments automatically. The technology wasn't revolutionary, but the result was. Business owners immediately understood the value because they could see how much time it saved and how many opportunities they were losing without it. The next challenge was finding clients, and that's where most people quit. Everyone wants customers, but very few people are willing to hear no repeatedly. I spent hours every day reaching out to businesses, researching companies, sending messages, making calls, and refining my pitch. Most people ignored me. Some told me they weren't interested. Others never responded. But every rejection taught me something. I learned which industries cared about automation, which pain points got attention, and which promises sounded exciting versus believable. Slowly, the conversations improved. Then one day I got my first yes. It wasn't a huge deal, but it was proof that someone was willing to pay for a solution I had created. That first client changed the way I thought about business because I stopped wondering whether this could work and started figuring out how to make it work better. I became obsessed with results. Every time I delivered a project, I looked for ways to make it faster, more valuable, and easier to explain. Clients don't buy AI because it's AI. They buy outcomes. They buy more leads, more appointments, more sales, and more free time. Once I understood that, my sales process became much simpler. Instead of talking about technology, I talked about what the technology could do for their business. As clients started seeing results, referrals began to appear. Referrals are powerful because trust is already built before the conversation even starts. Suddenly, I wasn't just cold messaging strangers. I was getting introduced to people who had already heard that I could help them. That momentum created opportunities I couldn't have imagined when I started. The business grew because I treated every project like it was the most important project I'd ever done. I responded quickly, solved problems aggressively, and focused on making clients successful. One lesson that surprised me was how much easier business becomes when you develop a reputation for reliability. There are plenty of talented people in the AI space, but many disappear after making a sale or fail to communicate when challenges arise. Simply doing what I said I would do consistently became a competitive advantage. As revenue increased, I reinvested into better systems, better processes, and better learning. Every dollar earned became fuel for growth rather than a reward to spend immediately. I studied sales, marketing, operations, automation, psychology, and communication because I realized that AI was only one piece of the puzzle. A business succeeds with multiple skills work together. There were moments when growth felt slow, moments when deals fell apart at the last second, and moments when I questioned whether I was moving in the right direction. But I kept reminding myself that every successful business looks obvious in hindsight and uncertain while it's being built. The reality is that the path from $0 to $40,000 wasn't one giant breakthrough. It was hundreds of small decisions made consistently over time. It was choosing to learn when I could have scrolled, choosing to reach out when I felt discouraged, choosing to improve the offer when results weren't good enough, and choosing to keep going when nobody was paying attention. Looking back, the most valuable thing I built wasn't the automation systems or the revenue itself. It was the ability to identify problems, create solutions, communicate value, and execute consistently. Most skills compound. Technology changes, markets change, trends come and go, but the ability to solve real problems for real people remains valuable. That's why I believe the biggest opportunity in AI isn't the software itself, it's understanding how to connect powerful tools to meaningful business outcomes. The entrepreneurs who win aren't necessarily the smartest or the most technical. They're the ones who stay focused on creating value and persist long enough to let that value compound. When people see a business reach $40,000, they often see the result, while they don't see the late nights, the failed ideas, the rejected proposals, the endless testing, and the constant adjustments that happen behind the scenes. Success is rarely a straight line. It's a process of learning, adapting, and improving faster than the obstacles in front of you. If there's one thing I've learned from building this AI business, is that opportunities are everywhere for people willing to look beyond the hype and focus on solving genuine problems. The future belongs to those who can combine technology with execution, and execution is still
my skin in business. Most people are waiting for the perfect moment, the perfect idea.